I've been, obviously, you guys know I got injured, right? Some of you guys, just before our last Bengal game last year in Cleveland, I was going from the one-on-one pass pro drill over to the team period, and I slipped in a divot or on a divot and like stumbled on the sidewalk, and I went down and dislocated my right ankle, right, and broke the right leg and tore up the left knee. Over 9 weeks, it was non-weight bearing. And you talk about being humble, that's humbling, okay? And now just the last, 5 or 6 weeks, I've been able to get up, move around. Now I can walk. Last couple of therapy sessions, I walked the whole session with no cane. With just a cane. So it's getting there. It's not where I need to be yet, but we're here at this clinic. This is the 36th year. The 36th year of this clinic. And I tell the guys, if you have a question and you don't get it answered and you're at this clinic, it is your fault. It's your fault, because there's enough guys at this clinic, okay, that if you have a problem with something, or a technique problem, or if you have a problem with a blocking or assignment or a blitz or a play, there's somebody in this room that can answer it. Doesn't necessarily have to be the speakers. There's somebody in this room that can answer your question. So this clinic's been going on forever. All these guys that come here give back to the profession that's been good to them, good to us. Okay, so this started with 6 guys, okay, in the Cincinnati Bengal office with Jim McNally. Paul Alexander was there, I was there, Freddie Mariani was there, Jay Callum, God rest his soul, he was there, and I still can't remember the 6th guy. You remember the 6th guy, Paul? It was a homeless guy. It was a homeless guy. I think he coaches the line with the Steelers. I'm not sure. So, whatever. You guys can get this is a fun place to be. This is intense. We're going to go. Okay, we got a lot of great speakers. And tomorrow we go all day. We get a half hour for lunch. Pro Football Focus buys the pizzas. Okay, we eat pizza at the table. Half hour later, we keep on going. All right, guys? We're going to start the night off with Sam Pittman. I coached with Sam at Cincinnati. He's a wonderful speaker. He's been at Cincinnati, Oklahoma, North Carolina, Arkansas. Now he's the line coach at Georgia. Okay? I'm going to hand this over to Paul Alexander, and you guys are going to understand tomorrow you're going to hear a whistle. When I blow a whistle, it means you get your ass back in your seat if we have a break. Okay? Just like you coach your players. So the whistle blows, you get your ass back in the seat. Okay? Now, Paul's going to run tonight's show. Paul, come on up. I'm quite sure I'll have a few tidbits of information for you. Paul Alexander.
Okay, this is thanks everyone for coming. This is great. It's going to be fun tonight. We'll have 4 speakers, and then at the end, the speakers will be up front, and we'll do a question 5. We'll have a question-answer period. Any question you got, we'll pass it around, different ways to do things, et cetera, et cetera. It's a tragedy what happened to Bob. But with all bad things, there's some good that comes out of it. That spot that he fell with all this rain is now called Wiley Lake.
And it has docks.
Okay, here we go. Sam Pittman, he's been everywhere. He's a legendary coach. He's one of the best coaches in the country. He's Oklahoma, Arkansas, North Carolina, Northern Illinois, and Sam Pittman.
Thank you. I'm going to get right into it. First of all, I want to thank the guys that helped me in my career. Bob certainly did, and I'm talking about all the GAs and everybody that's helped me, and I certainly appreciate it, and you don't go unnoticed. I'm going to talk here a little bit, guys, about zone scheme versus movement. And what we don't want to do is we don't want to chase linebackers. In other words, we don't necessarily want to run an open scheme where the Mike's in the box and now he's outside the box because we're chasing people. And so I'm going to show you a little bit what we try to do as far as trying to pry open schemes here. So to start off, we're in a one-step, one-hand read on the inside zone. We're going to go inside and outside, but right now, one-step, one-hand read, and so he's going to read on his first one, and then we're going to try to pry it back open. Now, we work this every day at practice. Every day at practice. And what we're zoning left here right now, and the guy's just trying to basically run back through there. Now, we are a big down shoulder team. What that means is that I played defense in high school. I was on the team, let's say that. And they taught near leg, near shoulder in tackling. And basically, if you look at offensive line play, a lot of it is near leg, near shoulder, because you're talking about getting your second step in the ground. You're talking about leverage. There's all kinds of leverage. There's hand leverage. There's shoulder pad leverage. And so what we're trying to talk about is we need a down shoulder. So if we talk about a down shoulder, that just means that has to be underneath his, because you're either going to control your destination by the level of your shoulder pad, or he's going to control it. You're going to control the angle of your gap by the height of your attack shoulder, or he's going to control it. So if my shoulder's up, he's going to hit this shoulder and he's going to take me out of my gap. He's also going to take me wherever he wants to take me. If my shoulder's down, we believe that we can control our destination. We talk to him all the time about you're going to control your destination, or he's going to control your destination. So we do this drill right here every single day. We do this drill, and as you'll see, if you're playing on the left side, we'll do it on the left side, because we're going to pry front side and back side. Okay, so I just want to get into it real quick with you. Tight zone scheme. Now, these are two tight ends. We like to do two tight end quite a little bit in various ways, okay? So the first thing is the ID. Our ID, we're going to ID the second linebacker call side. So this is odd here, obviously, whatever you call it, 3-4, mint, whatever you might call it. But here's one linebacker, here's your second linebacker. So we're going to call the second linebacker. Now, we have base plays, we have spotted plays. Base plays, we would never count a safety. So this is really a base look for us, because we are in either 12 personnel or 21 personnel right here, okay? So I want to show you two different things just to kind of start off. Our right guard right here is a one-step read, one-step, one-hand read. And that's what he's doing. He's going out there. But what we would like for him to do is get back vertical. If he goes away, we want to get back vertical, because we want an opportunity to pry both sides, not only front side, but back side. Now, our left guard here is doing exactly what we just practiced right here, okay? So he's down shoulder, lift, and angles to the linebacker. So all these guys up here, I used to teach it different on inside zone, but right now how we teach it is we want our angle of departure to be to our linebacker, okay? So our shoulders should be in line with the linebacker, okay? We're at one step, one hand read, and we are wanting and looking for prize situations. Well, if they're moving, you also have a prize situation on the front side here. We like what we're doing here. Now, once we get this fit right here, we're trying to go as vertical as we possibly can to the linebacker, Now, let me say something else, what we changed that helped us, and it might sound weird to you, and I'm not telling you how you do your deal. I'm telling you how we do ours. We're telling this backside guy anybody on the backside, that we need his backside shoulder inside of his shoulder. Now, that'll put our helmet where we need it and all that, but we feel like if we're looking at this shoulder, we can get leverage on it and we can get fit on it. So we're telling this guy back here to get his shoulder inside of his. I used to teach it that he would cover everything that he sees here, but the problem was a lot of times the back would hit the A gap and not the B gap, and we would get 3 or 4 yards when we could get a lot more. So we did change that on the backside. Let's go back here to the next one. So now we're running zone to the left, and our center's not very good here. But what we're telling these guys on the outside is these guys on right here are base blockers. And where you get in trouble a lot of times in the zone scheme is if you know you have help somewhere, and if you know you have that help, a lot of times you'll go too wide, because I got help over there. I got help. So what we tell our guys is this guy right here, excuse me. This guy right here is a base blocker. He's a base blocker. So he is going to get in trouble at times with movement. Now, obviously, his step wasn't very good. His second step wasn't up the field and those things. But we can help him right here with a pry. So this would be a one-step read. His guy goes away. He's going to get back vertical. Now, when he gets back vertical, we're trying to take that shoulder down, the second step up the field, and we're coming through here. Now, if this guy would have done what he was supposed to, he did not, we probably would have had double pry on both sides. Now, if we're not prying right here, I feel like we might be in a little bit of trouble with the nose guard, but because we did, we were able to sustain that enough to get through. All right, next here. Now, here is a four-man line. Okay, so we're in a four-man line. Okay, let's go back. We're not trying to run this play right here into numbers, and we're not trying to run it into blitz. So our quarterback right here, we obviously, this is Sonic Blitz, Sam Strong safety. Everybody has it, so we're not going to run this play over here. We're going to run it away, okay? We're making the middle guy the Mike linebacker. So we should have a pry possibility at the right guard and a pry possibility at the center, and possibly a prize possibility at the left guard, depending on what they do here. So as you see right here, we are expecting, because we've made a call over here. Now, you coaches, I know you do, but you got to coach outside this box right here. You have to coach outside the box. You have to coach safeties. You have to coach caps. And what we call a cap is a safety directly behind the Sam or the nickel Sam or the Willie, or outside of him. If he's inside of him, we don't feel like he's capped. If he's outside or behind him, we feel like he is. We feel like we have potential for action. So for us right here, we would make a call right here. Obviously, this one's easy because you got the strong safety setting on the line of scrimmage. But we would make a call right here to alert everybody up here that there is major possibility that we're getting action to our right, to our right. Okay, now we're not really liking 74 right here, because to me he should be having his left shoulder, and he's not doing much anything at all technique wise. We do like 66. He's got to be looking for a pry possibility, and we do like 79, except he's too high. And then 77 here, he's trying to cut him out. We're trying to win as many gaps up there as we possibly can. In other words, if they're going to move on us, we're trying to get a hole in the front side, we're trying to get a hole in the back side. When I first was teaching inside zone, the hole was always, to me, going to be backside. And now we're trying to do it where it's both ways here. Okay, so obviously you have an odd front right here. Whatever you think is going to happen here, our quarterback knows. Well, you see, here's your cap right here. Here's your safety on the ball. Here's your cap. You got a safety or a corner, depending on what he is, behind another safety. All right, so everybody here knows we got action. So we're going to make a call over on this side, over on the right side, to let everybody know, hey, listen, there's potential here that you got action. You got action. So now we should have a pry by 65, and we certainly could get a pry by 66. But we're sitting here with the pry. We should have a good pry right there. And so there's your 1, 2. He's got to get his second step up the field. It has to go up the field. Now look, I know there's a lot of people teaching the zone scheme, lateral. You're looking for movement, lateral, and then going. Lateral. I understand that. And whoever does that, I guarantee they can put up tape here and they're having great success. We don't do that, right? What we do is we're one step read, and our second step has to get on the ground and up the field. And then here is basically near leg, near shoulder. And then once that happens, now we don't, at Georgia, we just coach these guys right here. We don't coach the tight end, so you can't be bagging on me for that deal. Or the wideout. Okay? All right. Odd again. You got action. You see where the action's coming, correct? Everybody here sees the action coming. So we're going to make a call over here to let us know, hey, look, there's a possibility that they're rolling to our left. When that happens, these two guards right here are going in immediate pry alert because we're a base blocker at center, we're a base blocker at left tackle. Now, this is bad over here by the left tackle, but the pry is good. So right now we're trying to win a gap, and we feel like we won this gap right here. Now, we're not good enough to tell Seven where to run the ball. He's going to run it wherever he can. But we do not want a hole that goes only lateral. We don't want just a lateral hole because the back can't make as good a cut as if we have a lateral and a vertical hole. So we're trying to move people at ways, but we're also trying to move left and right, but we're also trying to move them down the football field.
Sammy, will you go talk about the center technique in the basement?
Yeah, yes, sir. On our center, everybody up here, with the exception of, and I've got it on here, with the exception of if we're running to a 3 technique and we've made the mic backside. With that, everybody up here is going to step with their play side foot, okay? So the center right here, what we tell our center is that he, on this case, is going left. So he's left-right. He's trying to get his backside shoulder slightly inside of this near shoulder right here. That's what we call a base block. On 1, that's position, and that's also position with his hands. On 2, the second step should get up the field. As a center, it's not going to get very far. It may get that far, but it's got to get up the field. Anytime that I'm positioning my feet, I have to position my hands. If I don't, what happens is I get surprised, and you shouldn't have any surprises in football. So once my foot fires, my hands have to be ready. And you can see he's got his backside shoulder just inside of him, and now he's trying to lift. He's trying to lift him out. Now, we talk a lot about the lift because of different reasons, but one of them is because you can't lift anything that you don't have leverage on. So we talk a lot about the lift. The other reason is because lifting will fire your hips. It'll fire your hips, and that's where your power is. If you don't step forward, it's hard for you. On your second step, it's hard for you to fire your hips because your hips will be setting behind you. Okay? Now, if he wants to go this way, we know because I got a down shoulder and I'm controlling him that I can put him on his back here, or we also know that I might get pry help right here to hit the ball front side. Now here, obviously the case is the guard did not. He one step readed it. He should have come straight back vertical up the field, because what happens is this. It ain't my damn team. We don't do a lot of crossing the ball inside zone. And the reason is because, now we put it in this spring. We got a new coordinator. And so we put it in this spring. He lost 4 or 5 yards every time we ran. No, you know how that goes. But anyway, so we don't do it. And the reason is because I don't want these linebackers to rock back on me. You know, I don't want them to. But with what we're trying to teach, if they rock back, he ought to be coming right back through this guy right here. And if he's coming back through that guy and he's any good at all, which he's not, I get it. He's any good at all, we might hit that ball front side as well. You're telling your back to go to the heel line of the original line of scrimmage. If he does that, you're going to have opportunity to hit the ball front side or opportunity to hit the ball backside. I really like this here because he does have a down shoulder. He's lifting through with that shoulder in hand right here. He's controlling that. And therefore, now, if we're any good at all, we have a chance to go here or we have a chance to go backside. Okay, remember, RID, now those are a lot of odds on here. Okay, RID is the second linebacker. So if we happen to go to a 3 technique, have y'all ever gotten in trouble where you got 12 personnel and you got a tight end here? Well, we do right here, and the quarterback goes over here to the 3 technique. And you know what happens is because what we're doing is we're spot IDing instead of base IDing. Well, the mic in this case is right there. No matter what. If this guy was in the box, that's still the mic linebacker. So what we're saying is that we're going to identify the mic no matter where he is. And a lot of times when you get into this look, guys will identify front side. And when you do that, you leave him unblocked. Now, I want to talk about this one right here. We're running to the left. And here's what I want to talk about with the center. Okay? So we have a single block here. Here's our mic ID. These guys got nowhere to go, so they're in a man scheme. Basically, here's the mic. This guy's sitting out here is the Willie. So we got a man call right here. There's no place to go. If this guy happened to come down in the box at linebacker depth, we would claim him. But right now, we're not. We got a man scheme going on the backside. If you'll watch the center right here, these are things that you can work on. You know, a lot of times your tight end coach will take the tackles and tight ends, and you'll be left with the 3 inside guys. So these are things right here that you can work on to where when this linebacker, you don't chase the linebacker, you follow him. So he's coming back here. I got to follow him flat. I got to come flat back down the line. If I follow him with any type of going towards my line of scrimmage, I'm not going to be able to help. So right here, he's going here, and then now he's coming back. He's following this linebacker. He's not chasing him. He's following him back. And then right there, we should have a seam. Okay? So with this happening, let me go back to, I'm all over the place. There's a big deal for us when he's in a G, when he's in a shade. Okay? For us, it's a big deal. Well, the reason we want to go away from numbers, away from blitz is because when this guy gets in a shade, and you're usually not going to get him in a shade, guys, when you have balanced tight ends. What's he going to do? He's going to arc out he's going to go to a G. He's going to go to 2I or whatever you might call him. Action, when this guy's sitting right here, it'll change, but not with his right hand down. Action is going to come right here, up the middle or away from a G. So all our guys know that, but they're also looking at this cap. And we got cap, we got action, possibilities. So at our place, do you have to be right if you call whatever your term is for possible blitz? No. You're right because you alerted the possibility for blitz. You're right. Because if you get on a kid about making a blitz call and he's wrong, then what, in my opinion, he's going to quit making that call. All we're saying here is it's a possibility that we're getting this action. And this right tackle let us know, hey man, we got problems, possibility coming, or they got problems, depending on how you look at it. Okay, a couple more of these, and then I'm going to go to another set, another same type play. Okay. So here we are in odd formation. 51 is the mic. So he's going to set his angle right here to 51. Well, he's never going to angle backside. The furthest he's going to go is square. Okay? So he's going to be squared up right here. And you got an easy-ass pry coming up right here when this guy goes backside. Now, the key to me, again, is getting a second step up the field. You don't want to catch, because if you don't, you're going to catch this guy, and he's going to keep running. So you have to get your second step up the field and get the down shoulder and that second step up the field. Now, I wish he'd get the second step a little bit more vertical right here, but his fit with his shoulders and his lift was outstanding. So you go back on the backside, and he's doing the same thing right here, except he's not closing down the farm and he's not lifting. So he fit it, but his feet stopped. Where 65 fit it, see, 66 thinks he can just knock his ass out right here. Well, he can't. Where 65 did that, and his feet kept climbing to the linebacker. All right. We're terrible over here on this side. We're horrible. This should be a single. They moved on us right here. This should be a single from the get-go. This should be a single. Now, it's hard because you got a 4-eye sitting here, and he's going to move. He's not going to move late. So this guy right here is in Never Never Land. Well, that's why you talk. That's why you communicate. If he said single, this guy would cover him all up. If he said double, this guy would cover him all up. The only thing is he'd know if he goes inside that he's going to help him. So there's no communication right here. All I want to show you is we're looking more at the backside right here where he's coming right here. A lot of times guys will call this slow playing the backside or something like that. All we're trying to do is we're going to say pry the backside, and he's got to get his feet in position here to where he can get near leg, near shoulder, which is right and right there. All right, here is where we're going to do it on both sides right here. Now, obviously, this guy on the left side has alerted us that we're getting action. So this is a little bit more of a hop and this, that. Now, let me go back here with this. 74 in this picture is a big, stiff dude. 345 pounds of big and stiff, okay? So I kept penalizing this guy because he's stiff. Well, every one of y'all surely have a guy that's stiff. He's not going to look the same as the guy that's not. It's the results that matter. This guy right here, it's like, man, he ain't got no damn quick twitch. He's this, that, and the other. But then you go in, and if you're not grading him strictly on technique, but you're grading him on the results, he's kicking ass. So, well, this bothers me right here. But is he not doing, in the end result, he's doing what we're trying to get him taught. And he's too high, he's this, that, and the other. But it took me to this year to realize he ain't going to look the same. He's not. But he can be a good player for us. Okay, let me see if I can get to a 4-man before we continue on up here.
This guy didn't make the period.
Sir?
This guy didn't make the
Exactly. And I struggle with that shit. And why? The guy's kicking ass. Bravo, you know. But instead, you're in there going, you know, you're out of position. You're not getting your second step up the ground. And he's looking at you like, I just killed that guy. That's what he's doing. And you know what? Let's be honest. If I was the player, I'd be looking like, hey, Dick, look at the results. You know, you here, go play this guy that can't do what I just did. You know what I mean? So, anyway. All right, let's go to something else. Cody, let's go. Okay. Now, I only have a couple of examples here, but I want to show you some good and some bad. Okay, so we're now in one back, one tight end. Okay, so what we do is we try to combine one back duo and one back zone together. Okay? Now, in this particular look, this is a spotted play for us. So we're going to go to the second linebacker. I don't give a shit what the front is. If it's a 4-man front, we ran one back duo. If it's an odd front, we're running inside zone to the odd front. So I got 2 in here I want to show you. Now, for us, if you like this concept, for us it was easier for us to start the call as a zone call. If it's a 4-man line, we're turning it in to duo. We are.
Personnel, and they make a 4-man line, treat it the same.
Yes, we treat it identical. So right here Our ID, we're going to count this guy right here. Our ID is front side. We brought a number 2 in to shield. And I want to show you something here. So you guys see all the pride that we do. If that guy don't come to me, I'm looking for the guy outside, which that's not true. That's not fair. Which a lot of guys will go, I'm looking for him. He's gone. I'm gone. We don't do that. I'm looking for him. He's gone. I'm looking for him. Okay? Because, now look, if he's gone now, his friend's coming with him. Or the linebacker buddy. If he's gone, somebody else is coming. Somebody else is coming now. If he stays, guess what's happening? Probably he's staying too. Okay, so nobody one gaps a guy. Oh, I don't know. I'm not in the NFL. They may do it in the NFL. I don't know that. But they don't do it in college. So right here, this guy right here, this is what I want to tell you. I think he's absolutely wrong from the get-go. Okay? And I'm going to tell you why. That guy right there, you are chasing. So what we tell the guy is, if you're chasing a linebacker, before the play ever starts, you're out of the pry world. So if I'm this left guard right here, and he's in close range right here, but if this guy I'm chasing, or I had to push the point, or whatever it may be, and I'm chasing, I'm out of the pry world. That's why I don't really like to run plays to where our guards are chasing. Because if they're chasing linebackers, and the linebacker's slower than them, then they'll be playing O-line and we'll be playing linebacker. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to get in a race with a guy we can't catch. So right here, you see what he sees it. He's prying. Well, shit, when he pries, look at the gap. We're going to get beat. We're going to get beat. So he's prying right here. We're going to get beat, which he did. Now you go back to this one right here. Now we are running duo. We got a 4-man line. We made the mic. Now, I know it's going to sound different, Paul. Because we called it zone to begin with, we're making the mic always the second linebacker. I know we're a duo. You'd probably go front side, but because of the way we're doing the play, we're making the mic backside, which makes this guy the Sam. Now, if the Sam linebacker is if he's head up or inside, we're going to call deuce. For us, deuce means we're working inside footwork. If he becomes outside of this guard, we're going to call pinch, which for us, that means we're both stepping with our right foot at this point. Okay? So right here, the mic's backside, we are going to deuce. So this should be a left-right right here. Because, why? Because we're always stepping to the gap where our possibility of danger is. So he's back here. He can steal this gap. Shit, if we both step right, left right here, we're toast. Because that's the Sam. So we're sitting right here in this deuce world. Now, where are we wrong? We're wrong right here. These two guys got to get to him. And we're not doing it. We're making the MA back here. But here's your deuce, okay, which is okay, but we've got to come off. Now, because this is a zone scheme, a lot of times you'll go, well, if we call deuce, that's a gap scheme for us. So if we call that, we have to get this vertical. We ain't going to the linebacker anymore. We're taking it vertical off the ball, okay, because we're using basically gap scheme rules. All right. Now, if you run the ball weak, now we're still in inside zone, and you're running the ball weak. If you run the ball weak, and you open this look every single time, in other words, you declare this guy the Mike linebacker, okay? This is all spotted. So if we're running weak, we spot the first guy in the box. That's the Mike. That starts this thing, okay? If this guy comes down over here, now look. At some point, you have to decide, are we going to throw this damn ball every single time they outnumber us in the box? And if you do, then your quarterback's got to be good, everybody's got to be good. You don't, because you ain't doing shit. Well, I mean, it's true. We go for a freaking 5-minute RPO period at our place. You know what our line does? They don't do anything. Because they know the damn ball's out. Ball's out, ball's out. They run inside zone, they bullshit around, throw it, ball. What we are trying to do, so you'll understand, is we are trying not to push the mic point outside the box. We're not. Again, what's that mean? If I do, these two guys are chasing that guy. Our pry possibilities are gone. We don't have any. Remember, if the mic's in front of you, your responsibility's in front of you, you're out of the pry business. So if that happens, we're done. We're gone. So right here, the mic is always going to be right there by our center. He's going to declare whether we got to stretch the mic or not. He's looking for that, okay? He's going to declare. But what happens is, if we just open the call every single time, and I know you guys can show me 100,000 times where you don't block that guy right there, he hits it up there and he makes a lot of yards. I know that. I know that. Or you can show me you open it every single time and that guy throws the ball. We're trying to run the ball at Georgia. As best we can, we're trying to run the ball, and we're telling that guy, you better be right. On this one, we're saying your ass better be right, you open this call. You better be right. And there'll be 2 or 3 times, 4 or 5 maybe a year that we miss the call. But we would rather live with that and run this damn ball into this look right here, where now we've got 2 pries, and we're rolling. Now the tackle right here, you got to get off on this guy. We're confused here. But you have to, I think, remember this old stiff-ass kid again. He don't look like 66. Now, if you had something to say with 66, you would say your damn shoulder's too high. Because if it wasn't, his ass would not continue to go that way. He would go that way. He would go vertical. So if the shoulder's up, he's going to control you. If it's down, you have a great opportunity. You see where he's going. His ass going waiter. Think if he don't right here and he gets back vertical, we might score a touchdown. Instead, we get them 1 yard or whatever it is. All right, let's go back here. We're running weak zone. Here's your mic point. Now you can see here, remember on 66 the last time the linebacker was sitting inside here and he pried? These guys are fast, you know. So he pried and he took it. Now he's in great opportunity to pry. Would you agree? So now he's in great opportunity to pry, and he has plenty of time here. What we're trying to do, guys, is we're trying to win more gaps than the obvious. Here's the obvious gap. Well, guess what? They set this bitch right here, so they knowing that. We're trying to say, hey, look, we're going to hit it inside of this guy if we can. Okay, because they ain't going to put that guy in here. We'll run down the stretch. So he's in perfect shape to make the play, and he should here because we don't win any gaps in here. We don't win. Well, I mean, if our center's better right here, if he's better, we might win that gap. But I see what the back's doing, and I'm not good enough. Hell, if I want to be the running back coach, I'd apply for it. I'd have to lose a lot of weight. All right, now, so we're going to the right. Bob, when you and I were together, since then, I put on 50 pounds. It's hard as shit to do now. It's hard, guys. 1996, that's 23 years. That's 2 pounds a year. It ain't easy. But I've been consistent with it, and I'm doing pretty damn good. Now, next year is going to be another challenge. But if I see y'all again, I'll probably be up 2.5, 3 pounds. I'm working on it. I used to be the tight end coach here when I was at Cincinnati, but I had to put on this pounds, and that's the only reason that I'm heavy. Fat's an awful bad word, isn't it? All right, same thing here. We're going over here to the right. We got potential. Yeah, yeah, thank you. We got action. Now, what's the center been told? He going to this guy right here. They can play base. They can rock this way. They can cross dog. Okay, I do want to say this. Herb Hand, who's a wonderful coach in here from Texas, they kicked the lever-living shit out of us. I did happen to find 2 tapes where we put some other guys in Texas uniform where we had success running the ball, because we really didn't. So Herb, wherever you're at, is that good enough? It's the truth. All right, so again, you're looking at this guy right here. Again, I believe that we're taught that if he goes away, I'm gone. He goes away, I climb. He goes away, I climb. He goes away, his damn friend is coming with him. We want to buy a gap. We want to buy a gap. So now he goes away, we're near leg, near shoulder, down shoulder, lift, and try to finish out the ball. Our running back reads the first guy on or outside that guard. And all he's looking for right here, he's looking for this action. He knows he's trying to get to the heel, and he knows right now that he's going to cut the ball up. Okay? We're trying to buy him this gap, and we're trying to buy him that gap. Okay? But he's going to read the first down lineman. Now, if the running back with coach is in here, he's going to say, he's going to read that guy, to the official, to that guy, this guy. Am I lying? God damn, read that guy. He goes away, I'm going to hit next hole. End of conversation, I think. Okay? Well,
You did a great job at Chubb, I know that.
Nick Chubb and Sony Michelle, I was a running back coach 2 years ago. I know one thing, I sure as hell wasn't an O-line coach. Woo, we were bad. But anyway, here, again, I put this on here obviously because the center does a nice job. But he doesn't. But we got to win over here because he's coming down. Now, we got a wide out coming down in here for this guy. But, damn, Herb, as a matter of fact, we ain't making no yards on this one either. We're just doing okay, but how many? 4. Okay, I do want to show. Let's go there. Let's go there. I don't want to show that. I want to get to this. Okay. A lot of different ways to skin a cat, and I think the O-line coach from NC State, you going to talk about stretch, coach? So I don't need to talk about it, to be honest. He's wonderful and does a great job. But when we do this right here, we again are trying to identify the second linebacker in the box. Now, a lot of guys go front side and they chase everything, they cut it back in there. We just don't do it that way. That's not to say that it's not correct. So our Mike spot is backside. Now, we went round and round on the backside of whether we should man this back here or roll with it. Because we're making the Mike backside, or the number 2 guy, we believe that we can make this ball hit front side. We're going to let him go. Okay? Now, they did not catch us last year, but that doesn't mean that they can't, but they did not. So right here, you see this guy, his linebacker's inside of him. He will make a call that lets this tight end coming over here go, hey, dude, I ain't going to help you very much. He's still going to step right, and he's coming back, and there's your pry. Now, the center's always got A-gap. He's got this linebacker, but he always has A-gap through. Now, what we tell our guys on this is we're running and chasing front side half, and we're going to run until we get it, and then we're going to try to fit our down shoulder and get it vertical. But as you can see here, they got action. We're taking them out of their gap here, and we're trying to hit the hole. Linebacker would be second guy. In this one right here, our Mike declare would be right there. Okay? So we're running there. Here's your Sam on the outside. Obviously now, this time we ran it into blitz right here. And, if we knew it was coming, we might make some type of tick call here. We do not. Obviously, we don't see it. Now, we don't teach cutting. I talked to the New England Patriots, and they're freaking awesome at it. But this guy should be gone, man. He ought to be gone. And so this cut cost us 2 of our own. But I do like the way this guy, his target here is front side half. 1, 2. We're going to chase till we get it. We're going to run on the back side. And he should fit his right shoulder as tight as he can to that half. Okay, let me see if I got a little bit better look at it. All right, we got a 4 down line. So we have made the Mike backside. We made him here. Now, you say, well, if this guy comes down here, if he comes down over here on this side, what we will do is we will run zone away. If we run zone away, then we've got all our prize that we're talking about. If we have to push the point front side on stretch plays, because there's a lot of teaching and coach will tell you how to do it all, but there's a lot of teaching that if we have to push the point front side in a 4-man line, we will run the opposite way. At that point, it just becomes a numbers game for us. Again, it's backside, and we're running the backside here. But we made the point here. These 2 then would be responsible for front side. Am I up, Coach? Fellas, it's an honor. I want to apologize because it's just as I'm positioning my first, I'm getting my hand ready. So this one's here, this one's cocked. And then on my second step, I'm down shoulder. I'm here with my hand. I'm lifting up through. It's very, very simple. Yeah, hand and shoulder. It's not a pry for us. It's a hand and shoulder. Now, when you first start teaching it, it's a little easier for the guy to pry. As long as he's getting his shoulder, and then we'll try to teach him his hand.
Think we're on here, and I've been coming to this thing since, I want to say it was 07 was my first one. And it was when I was a player out in San Francisco. I remember Pat Morse and a lot of those veteran guys, they used to talk about this clinic. Because Bob McKittrick used to talk about it all the time. And always piqued my interest. And so when I got into coaching, found out about the clinic, started coming to it, and I can't thank Bob, Paul, all the coaches and the speakers that have spoken at this. I've gotten so much, like anything I'm talking about, I've gotten it from somebody else. Like I've gotten so much of everything that I'm doing, how much you guys have shaped me as a coach. And this clinic, I mean, it's unique. I mean, not often you get together in a room with offensive line coaches and talk about schemes and issues that we're having. And so it's an honor, an absolute honor to be up here. And so what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to hit a little bit on the run game principles, okay? Hit a little bit on run game principles, some things that I think is very important in the run game that I value, and I'll show a couple of drills with it. And what I like to do is with the drill work, I like to try to show you game film of that as well so you can see it being executed. And then after that, okay, I'm going to get into our wide zone scheme, okay? Get into our wide zone scheme. And so we'll get right ahead into it. And we talk about that a lot. Running the football is an attitude, okay? And I got this from Doug Marrone. I was very fortunate. You know, when I look back on my career as a player, it wasn't very good. I bounced around a lot. But I played for 9 O-line coaches in the NFL. And that experience, that first-hand experience is something that's very valuable to me. And this is something that Doug Marrone talked about a lot. And it hit home with me, so I talk about this a lot. Speed off the ball, toughness, and finish. 3 things that I think everybody in that room can identify with, okay? All right, individual principles, okay, in the run game that we're talking about. Okay, and this is something that when I was in San Francisco, we had Bob McKittrick had it on the wall. All right, 1 inch of leverage equals 10 pounds of body weight. Man, that stuck home right there with me. As I was a defensive lineman, moved over to O-lineman, I was an offensive tackle my senior year in college at East Carolina, okay? So I wasn't the biggest guy when I was in rookie camp. And so when I got in there, I saw that sign, and that made sense to me. That hit home. So if I could play with a better pad level, I had a chance to play at this level. And so that hit home with me, okay? And so these are the principles that I want to make sure my guys understand. We want to eliminate any wasted movement. We want to move efficiently and effectively in order to capture our landmark on the defender. Everything I try to do with my guys, I want to make sure they understand their landmarks, where they have to get to. All right? That goes into the second thing. Must develop a knowledge of where your landmark is on the defender. All right, our footwork, all right, heel to toe stagger, knees inside the ankle. Power is generated from the ground. You must have a base in order to block the defender. All this stuff is stuff that I've learned from this clinic years ago, okay? Weight distribution, inner part of the foot, okay? One thing I do with my linemen in the summertime when I get to work with them, we take our shoes off, we take the support off. So they actually feel the ground as they're moving. I want them to be able to feel what it's like to have that weight to the inner part of the foot where they're pushing off, okay? We must be able to distribute weight to the opposite foot that you are moving. Our hands, all right, hands going from the ground to the chest right now. Ground to the chest right now. Thumbs up, elbows in. When we capture the chest, we will climb the defender. We will climb the defender. All right, these are just some practice principles that we're always going to try to hit. Okay, pre-practice, some of our footwork drills, our tight reach, reach cutoff, combination blocks. Our strike drill will go into a boards, okay? And I'm a huge crowd. My rookie season, I was with Bob McKittrick in San Francisco. And anybody knows him, like you grew up on the Crowther. And so I still use the Crowther sled every day. All right, so we still use that. Combination blocks, 2, 3, and even some 4-man combinations. And then we're going to work all the stunts, games, dogs, and blitzes, and work our eyes and our pad level. Okay? And so what I'm going to do is show you like some of our fundamentals, like everyday stuff that we're going to do. All right, this is one-on-one boards. Coach, this is who you're talking about, Will Richardson. Okay? And so we'll do this either with each other or against the D-line the very first thing in practice when we get started. One to see, and the whole purpose of what I'm trying to see is just, do we get our hands inside? Do we get our hands inside? During the season, this will be a quick whistle. It's not a thing where I'm trying to see the guys drive. I just want to see how quick we can get our hands inside, okay? And so we do this every day, and I learned this. Like I got started in coaching in NFL Europe with Whitey Jordan. All right, like big mentor of mine. Love that man, okay? But we did camps in the summertime, and Don Lawrence, who was with the Buffalo Bills, we were doing a camp together. I want to say it was in Berlin. And he was up there just giving a clinic and talking about angles, how the body has all these angles. And that hit home to me. And so when I look at this, I look at somebody in a stance, I see all these angles. And so, and he always talked about being explosive, eliminating the angles of your body. And so this, I always like to get this film so I can show the guys. And when you watch this, when Will strikes this, he just got rid of all that angle in his hips. The hands came up and inside right now. Okay? And so to me, and you see how he's being tight with it, with the elbows. And you see from the back, you see how tight the elbows are to the rib cage. Thumbs being up, thumbs being out. And so this is something that we do every day. Okay? It's something that we do every day. And the same thing, just wanting to see the guys get their hands inside. When I first got to NC State, I was there for the past 3 years, okay? They had, their defensive line, they had the 4 starters. One went in each round of the draft 2 years ago. One went in the first round, one went in the second round, one went in the third, one went in the fourth. My first day of practice, I was like, holy shit, these guys are, no, they're not good, they're great. They're great with their hands. Ryan Nielsen was the defensive line coach. And so we had to focus so much on just our hands in order to be able to try to win some of these blocks. And so it forced me to really spend a lot of time with that. And so we do that, and then after we go to that, we come here to the Crowther, and we do a 6-point explosion. A 6-point explosion. I want to work and try to get these guys being explosive, getting the hips going, thumbs up, hands to the chest. And how explosive can they be into that back? How quick can they eliminate, that power angle in their body? And so we do this every day, so that's right after the board drills, Same thing, this was just from this past season. How fast, how quick can they eliminate that angle in their hips exploding on the bag? All right, and then what we're going to work on is I grew up with Whitey Jordan, and we always did boards. And so we work our tight zone and our wide zone steps with the boards. And so what we did, the very first thing in practice, I'm working hands with the run game. And then I'm going to add the element of now I'm going to get in and add footwork to it. And so I got the hands coming, got the hips coming. Now I'm going to add the feet to it. And so we do this board, and I put a pipe here. These pipes serve a lot of purpose. They're 18 inches. That's what I believe our splits, that's what I want my guys to be in. But also it's a landmark for them to try to get their second step, making sure they get the second step down. And so we use that pipe to step over as we're stepping on the board. And so we're working our landmarks here, wanting to see the same thing with our hands, but now just adding our footwork. We'll go both directions, right and left with it. All right, and then we'll go to a wide zone. We'll angle the boards, work the same thing. What I think about this drill, it's not realistic. That's what you're going to see on the field. But what's realistic, when I watch my guys on film, how bad their first steps are. And this is at least something that'll get those guys, give them a visual of having to step over something, getting their first step good, and trying to get that second step on the ground fast. And so these are the everyday drills that we're doing. And so now it's just wide zone to the right. And this is a drill that we started doing a lot of because guys were doing a lot of stepping underneath themselves or pivoting. And so we'll just work on stepping over a pipe, and we'll do it underneath a chute, trying to keep our shoulder pads, our chest over our knees, but just working, stepping over a pipe, giving them that visual of something to step over. Trying to make sure we get that good, positive first step. I think we get in a lot of trouble, at least the guys that I've seen, when we take those bad first steps. So I want to make sure that we do that, try to get that corrected. And so we'll work that a lot. And we'll also do this single leg knee drive where now they're really driving off that backside leg. Learning to really drive off that backside leg. Same thing with getting the opposite foot down, and driving the guy off on a board. Just trying to continue working that first step. Getting that first step in the ground, driving off that backside leg. This will be all stuff that we're doing during individual afterwards. And obviously, like I told you, we're going to work Crowther, All right, we're going to work the Crowther. I think it's a good self-teaching tool. If you don't have a base, you're not hitting it correctly, it's going to spin on you, obviously. And so we work on this a lot, especially for our double teams. But we'll work the Crowther sled using that every day. And I think it's really good with the center, especially I tell guys come to me, Coach, I want to play center, all right? Let me go and see you snap the football and go and drive the Crowther. If you can do that, you got a chance. And so, to me, I think this is a good teaching tool with just keeping your base within the block. And so now we'll get into the wide zone. I know I'm kind of bouncing around, but what I want to do is I'm trying to give you as much as I can. All right, like I said, it's an honor to get up here and speak. And so I'm trying to give you as much as I can in this 45 minutes. And so the wide zone for me, all right, we talk about the why. When I was in NFL Europe, you had like 4 weeks to prepare, and I was with Whitey Jordan. Everything that we looked at, it was all of Alex Gibbs stuff with the Denver Broncos and Atlanta Falcons. We had 4 weeks to put something together for the season. So anything that I could get my hands on with anybody that's running the wide zone, I was grabbing it. I was getting it. I was going to try to hear them talk, And so really try to study this as much as I could. All right. To me, the why with the play and why this is what we're doing, this is us at Louisville, okay? It's the simplicity in our assignments. I'm never going to be the smartest guy in my room, I promise you that. But it's the simplicity in our assignments. We're going to try to eliminate our guesswork. I'm going to give the guys an objective. I'm going to give them an objective, get to your landmark. Now let's work on how to get there, okay? It allows us to play fast across the board. And to me, it's one play that can be ran out of different personnel groupings, formations, and motions without changing anything up front. And so to me, that's key. Like, I want guys to play fast. Those three things I talk about with my guys, speed off the ball, toughness, and finish. Well, this play, to me, it allows them to do that. Like, this is like when they walk in, this is going to be our fact. This is going to be who we are. All right, those guys believe that. I believe that, okay? And so for them to have the confidence, no matter what defensively we're going to face, they're going to know that they can play fast, okay? Allow us to master our Indian combo blocks. The more I do something, the better I become. Repetition equals mastery. All right, the more I can do something, the better I become, okay? Running lanes created by the O-line, the tight end, and running back working together to displace the defense, making it hard to fit. And that's what I love about the play, how everybody is so in sync, and we spend a ton of time on this. All right, but all of us together displacing the defense, making it hard for those secondary defenders to fit the play. All right, our keys to success. The very first thing I talked to you guys before, everyone has to understand their landmarks. Everybody. Okay? And to me, I want to make sure we have to get stretch on the front side. So the very first thing I got to make sure, and I always talk about a positive first step. I want a positive first step. I want our low flat pads driving off that backside leg, keeping our chest over our knee. Okay? A lot of times if I'm seeing a guy pop up, there are a lot of times they're pivoting off that outside leg. They're pivoting. They're not driving. And so I'm trying to get them in that drive mode. Drive. So keeping that low pad, keeping our chest over our knees, okay, and taking that positive first step. Get to our landmark and get vertical. Okay, when I talk about wide zone, this play, I want us to get to our landmarks. I want us to get vertical. We're not trying, it's not something where, when I first talk about this with the players, where they're trying to get, yeah, coach, I got to my landmark. No, you didn't. We got to go through the defender to our landmark, and let's get vertical now. Let's get vertical. All right, and so on the front side, we want to stretch. On the back side, all right, we got to create a wall somehow. All right, with us, that's cutting the defense on the backside or locking it, doing different things with our fullback to create a man scheme on the backside. And so we're either going to lock it on the backside or we're going to cut on the backside. All right, for the running back, get to your landmark. We always say it's a one cut up system, not cut back. We always say cut up. We want the ball going vertical. All right, the tempo by the running back, okay, I think it's very important. Now, I've heard Coach Gibbs talk about this a lot, okay, the alignment with the center with the running back, especially when he's uncovered, with those two guys being in sync. To me, I think that's important. So the tempo and the pace of the running back. All right, for our fullback and our two-back system, understand the key terms for our entry. In our lead scheme, key to defensive end just as if you're a running back. All right, and this is the big thing for him. You may not end up on your assigned defender, but be ready to clean it up. That guy's an eraser for us, okay? That guy does so much for us to make it right, and it's a valuable part of it. All right, quarterbacks, have the backside respect our keeper game, and wide receiver, understand key terms on who to block, as their block will turn that ordinary play into an explosive play, okay? And this is for our offensive line, okay? We talk about our alignment. I put our guards' fingertips on the laces of the center shoes. And this is something I always go back and I try to look, is I want to try to get as much as I can, but still make sure I can take my steps for my combination blocks. All right, because I'm talking about my guys all the time. We want to go get the defender's ground. All right, go get his ground, being aggressive, speed off the ball, okay? And so that's something I'm always talking about, but looking at when I'm looking at film is our alignments. Are we too far up? Are we too far deep? Our splits at 18 inches. The backside tackle, possible larger, depending on the alignment of what's inside of them. All right, depending on what's inside of them. You know, the thing I talked about earlier, fight to get to the play side armpit and get vertical. Go through that DN, get vertical, okay? Front side tackle, get to your landmark. You got to declare the read for the running back. Know where your help is coming from. Know, okay, if I'm a tackle, if that guard's coming with me. Know if he's coming with you. If he's not, that's going to tighten up your landmark. So you got to know where your help is, all right? Offensive line, we're going to be responsible for our play side gap, and that's going to take precedence over everything. All right, must create a wall on the backside through cuts or locking. Okay, for our running back, okay, we want that back to be able to understand fronts as we're showing them defense. All right, we want to give him those visuals. The guy's got to be a good patient runner. He's got to be a physical guy that's ready to get his shoulder pads vertical, okay? You know, and I've seen a lot of different ones, okay, and have been very fortunate to be around some great ones. And so, but for us, this is what we're looking for. We want his toes at 8 yards. All right, sometimes we call it a scissor step, sometimes we call it, but it's drop step opposite to set the track to the outside leg of the tight end or the ghost tight end. Okay, with his eyes on the read. If he's looking at the handoff, he's going to start to bow that, to banana as I call it. All right, he's going to dip in to get the ball. Now he's not going to be able to get his shoulder pads vertical and get north. All right, so I want to make sure that his eyes are staying on his read. I don't want him to dip in and get the ball. Don't want him to look at the handoff. All right, his read, first down lineman, outside in, press the line of scrimmage. We talked about this earlier, one cut-up system. All right, and we feel like that third step, a decision is going to be made. On the fifth step, it's time to execute that now. Okay, third step, decision. Fifth step, execute. Okay, key points for the quarterback under center, open play side. We say 4 to 8. Executing the handoff as deep and as wide as possible. Sell the keeper away. Sell the keeper away, holding off the backside defenders. In the pistol, where you'll see us the most, heels at 5 yards, open play side, 4 to 8, sometimes 3 to 9, depending on the snap. Execute the handoff as deep and as wide as possible. And always sell the keeper away. That's an important part of it. Can't tell you how many times I brought Alex Gibbs up last year to spend some time with me at NC State. How many times he talked about the keeper game. How many times he talks about the keeper and how that ties in to this play. How much it plays into it. That and our tight zone and the stuff that we do off of it. Okay, for the wide receivers, the scheme is designed to block support through the fullback or with a wide receiver. So understanding key terms to identify blocking assignments. And we're looking for that unselfish player who's willing to get in the briar patch. All right, we want that guy, we want to see a willingness of him to get in that box. If he has to dig somebody out, he's going to go and do it because that's going to turn that ordinary play into an explosive. All right, so now I'm going to show you like the individual blocks that we do down the line. Okay, down the line from tackle to guard to center, then our combos with our wide zone with some game examples. All right.
Take 1 minute and explain the relationship between the back and the center. You touched on it. Explain to them.
What I've always, and I heard Coach Gibbs talk about it, and so I started really looking at it. But to me, the back can't be too far behind or too far ahead of the center. And so when the ball is snapped, especially when the center is uncovered, so he's working to a 3 technique. He and the running back, by the time the running back takes his steps for his course, by the time he gets the handoff, he and the center look like they're in sync. And so if that ball cuts up inside, it's hitting at his landmark, okay, and it's going to go off that secondary defender off of that center's block. That center is going to be tall. We give them 3 looks. And for me, a big key to this play is our combo period with this. Like when we work these individual blocks, it's full speed. Like we got to give game-like reps. Garrett Bradbury, the kid that went to Minnesota, 18th pick overall. we called it like it's time to go. Like he understood the importance of it, but also it's a lot of work to give him those full speed reps of it. And so that's the relationship when we're talking about the relationship with the center, okay, with the running back. When we turn on film, it shouldn't be too far or too far behind. We know that his pace isn't right. So we're talking about the pace, okay, the speed of the back through the hole, getting to his landmark, being right on with the center. Hope that answers that, Bob. All right, so this is our tackle with the wide zone reach, okay? With the wide zone reach. And so we're giving him the landmark of the outside armpit. All right, outside armpit. Now, there's a couple looks I think that you'll get from the defender, okay? So we're going to get to our landmark. All right, make sure we take a good positive first step, trying to get a second step in the ground as fast as possible, bringing the hands in. And we're going to try to lock, you hear this a lot, locking that backside hand. Locking that backside hand so that guy can't fall off now and make that play. And you'll see this block right here, and I got some game examples coming up with it. And I like to see him strain out a little bit more. But you see him trying to emphasize locking that backside hand, making sure that defender can't come back inside. And here's some examples of it, because we tell our guys, if you get to your landmark, get vertical.
Show how that was beautiful. Show how you're bringing the backside hand and the backside hip.
That hand, okay, that hand and that leg, that hip, okay, coming together with your blocks like Coach is talking about. If that second step is getting in the ground like it's supposed to be getting, we're not getting a big crossover step, okay? We're getting that second step in. When we're getting that foot in the ground, this hand should be coming up and in now. It should be up and in. And I tell people a lot, like, and I know Scott is here and he's going to talk about the hands and stuff, and that's a huge emphasis with what we do every day. But I tell my guys, I give an example of, like, you know, I got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old running around the house. They don't listen a lot of times. And if I go and grab a hold of them like this, like, okay, like he's like, all right, I'm going to test your boundaries a little bit more. But if I grab a hold of him and I twist that thumb out, where that elbow's tight, I grab his attention now. All right, now I got a hold of him, okay? And so to me, I try to give that example of the force and the power that we get when we rotate that out, when we get that hand, lock it in there, and we try to rotate that thumb out, and having this elbow tied into that knee and that hip coming with it, Coach. All right, and so we try to look for that, and also do another drill that I'll talk about this with. I don't have film of it, where we lock the guys up. Like a pre-fit, second steps in there, we locked up, and then we get through the block, and you see them trying to get the hand to where we're locking it. All right, and so for the tackles, what I'm telling them, like, when you get to the landmark, get vertical if you can. If you're able to get to his landmark, get vertical. Okay, so this tackle here, all right, he's a little loose, but he got there and he stayed on the defender, and he's working to try to get vertical. As this running back, okay, that's his read. Okay, so the tackle's got to make sure he declares that read for that running back. Okay, and so I thought that there's some good examples on here, getting there, getting vertical. Same thing here with our right tackle from a couple of years ago. He gets to his landmark. You can see him, he's in his landmark, outside armpit. He's getting vertical, and a good finish by that kid. And that kid, like, he wasn't the strongest guy, but his hips, he was so strong in his hips. Like, his hips, like, he was so explosive. And so and you can see it all the time on the film. I really like that kid a lot. All right, and so that's the first block I work with the tackles. Getting to your landmark, get vertical. The second part is the wide zone, and I've always called it a torque. I know people don't call it that much anymore, but that's what I call it. That's what I learned, and that's what I've always called it. But it's really getting the hand in like we talked about, locking it. All right, the defender's working out, so you're really trying to force the guy with the track that he's trying to dictate to you. Okay, and here's some good examples of it. So same thing, working those same drills. Now you can see them, and you can really see where the hip and that knee comes up. We're locking that backside hand, forcing that defender out now. What I'm calling it with my guys, torquing that guy out. We'll give him another read with a defensive lineman trying to come straight up field, where he's really trying to penetrate hard, where we still got to bring that backside leg, that backside hand, and still try to torque him out of there. You see the inside hand right here, trying to get him to torque out. This is a good example here, I think, of this kid. You see the inside hand. All right, here's some clips of it in a game. This is that left tackle that you just saw going through the drills with it. Getting to a landmark, the defender's running out. It was a good positive first step, good pad level by this kid. Now, I wish his hand were tighter. That's one thing that I always try to work on, making sure our hands are good. But you can see him trying to lock in that hand, forcing the defender outside now. Here's an example of the right tackle that we were talking about, Coach, from earlier. Good positive first step. Good positive first step. All right, it's not pivoting. It's not going behind, like I want it lateral or gaining. But you can see how that really, when he went to lock that backside in, how it helped to get that defender out. But that tackle's got to feel that. He's got to feel in practice. He's got to feel it if that defensive end is playing thick on him. So he's going to get to his landmark and get vertical. He's got to feel that guy coming and then trying to run out. So he knows how to use his hands with it now. And so that's why this is what we do. Okay, I was very fortunate I was with our current head coach, Scott Satterfield, at Appalachian State before. Okay, and I was there with him for 4 years, and I went to NC State, and I was there for 3 years. Before I got there, I think NC State, the last time they had a 1,000-yard rusher, it was 14 years previous. And we had a 1,000-yard rusher each year that I was there, but the thing I liked about it, it was a different back each year. And so, to me, we do a half-line drill, but we work on our tracks so much with the backs, with the fullbacks, with the offensive line, making sure we're taking those steps, being good with our hands. And so those guys really feel like everybody's in sync with it, trying to displace the defense like we were talking about earlier. Here's another example of the right tackle here. His hand's outside, wish it was inside, but you see him trying to lock it. You see how his hips are tied in to it. I can't tell you how many times, like when we started studying this play, because in NFL Europe, we were always looking to see who we were allocating. And so we got all the Denver Broncos stuff. And when we were trying to find the landmark of the backs, I can't tell you how many times Whitey Jordan and I just rewind and pause where the back was hitting it. And so I always, even when I'm watching film now, I'm always trying to see, all right, outside leg of the tight end or ghost tight end, is he getting it? When he get there, make that decision. You see the backs getting his shoulders square, getting vertical. But here's an example here with the left tackle here. Same thing, trying to get that read with the defensive end. Good finish by that kid. Good job with getting him out. So we do the same block with our guards, okay, and also with our center. Guards trying to do the same thing. Now, I want this hand to be more inside, okay, more inside, thumbs out. But it's the same thing as far as the steps. And what I'm trying to teach the tackle, I'm teaching the same thing with that guard. What I'm teaching with that center is a little bit different, but the premise is the same on all those guys' blocks. So those guys are interchangeable so I can truly play my best five, regardless of the position. because they're used to those blocks, they're used to those combo blocks. So here's some examples of the guard doing the same thing. Gets to his landmark. Now stay vertical, make sure your shoulders are square. Here's another example of the right guard here. He got to his landmark. Don't keep running. Don't keep trying to go to the, we want to get vertical now. He got to his landmark, get vertical. Same thing here with the right guard. Getting to his landmark. He's short, but he keeps fighting to try to get there. All right, keeps fighting to get to his landmark. He almost gets there, but it's good enough to where the back is able to get his lane. We have different calls that we're making, but the majority of the time, that guard's coming to try to get that guy. Not often are we trying to be thick or be heavy through that, but it's all according to who we're going to try to identify with it and what we're doing with our fullback. And we have those combo blocks coming up. Here's one more example of the guard here getting to his landmark. Keep trying to work there. All right, and here's the center with the wide zone reach. Okay? We try to get the center, same thing. I'm trying to get him to get to his outside armpit. This kid is phenomenal. He came to NC State. He was a tight end, 6'3", 240 pounds. One of the most mature players I've ever been around. And so just a great player, and obviously, and quick, athletic, could play with leverage, was good with his hands. And so we tell him the same thing, trying to get to the outside armpit. Okay, and you get there, get vertical. If the guy runs, okay, let's take him to where he's going. Be strong with that backside hand. Be strong with that backside hand. Be strong with the backside hand. We don't want guys to be able to fall off and come inside with it. Here's some clips of Garrett throughout the season. And I'm trying to really just show you those individual blocks portion of it. We'll talk about these combos. I want to try to make sure to hit all this for you guys. Here's another example here with a G, with Bradbury reaching this G. Now, I always try to tell the center, I was like, you can't play high. You can't play high and you can't step underneath yourself. Okay, you'll try to step, create leverage. Sometimes I talk to my guys about dipping. Okay, I'll talk to them about trying to dip the head to make sure they exaggerate, trying to keep their chest over their knees. Because once they rise up with the nose that's coming straight ahead, that's going to be penetration now. Okay? We try to teach our center that he's going to handle that block. He's got to try to handle that block before we're going to start incorporating help with him. Okay? And there's going to be stuff that we'll do with the G. We'll wham him. You know, we'll run blast. Like if a guy's really just trying to run with the guard. But when he's going to try to work to where he can get his head, even though that guy's a 2I, he's a G, whatever you want to call him, but still trying to get him reached. Couple more clips here. Same thing with this 2I here with Bradbury. Getting to his landmark, and what you see is, okay, when you're watching this, how that back and that center, how they're in sync together. I think this is the last example right here of Bradbury. Now this is versus a 2, a head up, okay, on the guard here. But you can you see how he kind of dipped to try to make sure he stayed, you know, but he tried to reestablish leverage right there. And so he tried to dip to get underneath, but still work to get vertical. Still working to try to get that hand, a backside hand, inside. All right, and so we talked about those are all front side blocks. The other thing that we talked about, we got to have this cut drill, okay? We're going to cut. And I always try to use a moving target. A moving target. I heard Joe Philbin talk about this many clinics ago, but have a moving target with your cut drill. And so that's something that made sense to me. I was sitting back there, took those notes, went and tried to incorporate it now. And so to me, because the 3 technique, they're running. That G, he's running. And so making sure those guys, and they got to stay low. Backside, they've got to keep their chest over their knees. If they pop up, okay, they're going to be slower. They're not going to be able to get to their landmark. We want to cut. We want to get our head across, and we want to cut getting north. We want to get our chest and our belly full of grass. Okay? We want to cut landing on our chest and our stomachs, but getting north. I don't want to cut and see us rolling. And I always want to work a moving target with them, where they got to take that step, they got to work. I've heard many coaches talk about it. Firmly, it never happens on that first, second step. It has to at least take 3 steps. Sometimes it's more than that. It's however many steps that you get in before you get your head across and start working vertical. That way, that guy can't use his hands to play off of it and make the tackle. You got to work and strain to try to get vertical with that on the backside. Here's versus a G, a 2I, with a guard making a call to bring the tackle through. And that's the key, is making sure we're going vertical with it. Same thing with the center, with the head up. The guard trying to come through, making sure we're landing, getting vertical with it. And here's some examples of it. And you hear it all the time. Like, it's not pretty in a game. Like, I wish that we always got these cuts beautiful. But you see here, we're falling down on the side. But it's effective because we got the guy down. We eliminated the backside pursuit. That guy had to play that block now. Here's a couple more good examples of it. Here's a tackle on the backside versus a wide 3 technique. You see when he landed, the arm came through, he's landing on his chest. We got the stretch on the front side. We created a wall on the backside through that cut. Trying to make it difficult for those back end defenders to fit this play, because this play truly can hit anywhere. That's why I love the play. All right, to me, it's a fabric of who I am. I'm passionate about this play, because I can tell these guys, you always got help and you can play fast. How fast can we come off the football? Here's an example on the backside here with the guard with that head up nose. Getting a stretch on the front side and getting that cut. Another example here on the backside with the guard there. Getting a stretch, creating a wall on the backside. I'm going to try to fast forward this, okay, and get to a couple of clips here, all right, of our combos. All right, so this is our front side tackle and our front side guard. And what we tell this guard, he has 3 steps to make a decision. You're either going to punch over, you're going to overtake, or you're going to climb. And so this is what we work with our combination drills. And so you see the tackle and the guard working this right here, trying to give him those different looks. All right, so this is with the end coming inside. Now he's having to overtake, trying to still get to your landmark. Here's some game examples. Try to speed through some of this because I want to show you some of the center and guard stuff that we were doing. End works out, guard works up. Same thing here. End works out, guard works up on the 3rd step. All right, end goes inside, guard overtakes, ball hits outside. And so we work those combos over and over and over. All right, so where those guys, regardless of what we're getting, they have seen that. Quickly, here's some center and front side guard work. So this is with a 3 technique that's working out. Center makes a decision on the third step to climb up. All right, here's an example here with the 3 technique playing thick. So the center's going to try to snap it over. Okay, and then he'll have the overtaking. Here's a couple of clips of it from games. Here's a combo of those two working together for this backer. It's a good job of Garrett coming off of that. Another example, this guy playing thick, you can see him punch this guy over. Guy playing thick as a 3, overtake, backs presses course, and hits it. Here's another good example here with Bradbury with this guy trying to really come in hard right now. A short spike. You see him overtake, ball hits outside.
Hey, this guy, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.